Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Just to start off with some prep updates. So essentially today I've hit another low end of 64.8 kilos. So yesterday I was 64.9, so starting to taper down a little bit. Obviously just breaking into the 64s is always a little bit of a milestone. I think that this is maybe about where my weight was the last time I did my last mini cut, but my body composition and the amount of muscle that I'm actually holding is very, very different, and I can definitely say that the last push-up I did since then was incredibly successful, so I'm glad to have had that extra bit of time. So this week, obviously, I'm still feeling really good, to be honest. Like, I feel like energy is in a good place, performance has been good. I have reset a lot of my numbers in the gym the past week or so, just because essentially with me just being a little bit lighter, I was finding that a lot of the time I was just starting to have to chase my previous numbers in my logbook just to maintain them. So I've just taken a little bit of a step back there, which is definitely just taking a little bit of pressure off of training, but I'm still just making sure that my execution is absolutely on point. I think that we will be in line for a diet break next week. So as of next check-in, we'll be running a diet break for a week where essentially I will be pulling my expenditure back. I think steps will come down. I'll take probably 3 days off the gym or so, and then run devolume sessions for the remainder of that week. But I'm just trying to find parking. We will actually do training day food for my rest days on that day, just to actually take calories up, take carbohydrates up for the time that I am taking that diet break. So we just use that to drop off some fatigue. Obviously I will be traveling as well over the weekend, because we will be going to watch the PCA Ireland show as Mark's got clients competing, which is going to be really good fun. But obviously with that travel, that kind of coincides well with actually taking the diet break at that point where expenditure generally probably would be a bit higher than normal. The stress is going to be higher, so just having that extra food there will be really, really beneficial, just to, one, like I said, drop off some fatigue, get me really fresh as well for the following weeks of pushing a little bit harder, because we know that we can't necessarily push forever. Sometimes we will need to take a little bit of a step back where we do add in a little bit more food. We'll pull back expenditure, so I think cardio and rest days will be out for those days, and so that will have me feeling really fresh. Training will obviously pick up a little bit as well, which would be nice, just because I've got a little bit more fuel in the tank there, and a significant amount more calories as well, so that'll be good. So it's going to be interesting to see how my body responds to that. Obviously it wouldn't surprise me if I actually dropped off a little bit in terms of scale weight there, but we will see. We never really know kind of how your body will respond. If I do need a little bit extra food during that week, we'll definitely add it in. The idea is, I think that I'll probably be sending over my weight for the majority of days that week over to Cuba, just so we can make sure that I'm actually getting enough food in during that time before we do start pushing again the week following that. But I will keep you updated with exactly how we run that. Obviously with our travel as well, at the weekend, what we can probably do is show you a little bit as to how we prep our food and pack.
Fuck me, man, it's so fucking warm.
I could probably show you how we prep and pack for that time away, and how we just take all of the stuff that we need with us while we're on prep, while we need to make sure that we are absolutely prepared and kind of travel and go away at the same time, because it's definitely possible. I know that a lot of people struggle with it, but at the end of the day, like, there's always going to be ways to make sure that you're staying adherent to your plans. But yeah, we are currently at Tesco, our second home, yet again. I honestly will have to start paying rent here soon, but we're gonna go in, get a food shop, probably have to get another one in before the weekend. I'll catch up with you in a little bit. No hate on our pants, I literally scratched fuck. Blame Mark. I'm actually just gonna cook some chicken now for the weekend. I'm only gonna do one pack. I usually will do two, but considering we will be away, we'll probably get chicken while we're out there. So I'm just gonna cook the one pack today ahead of the weekend. You know what a fork will do. Or maybe not. Struggle. I'm gonna use these two today. So we have Aromat, the OG, and then I've also got chicken seasoning shock, for the perfect combination on your chicken. I do always season my meat before I cook it. You don't have to, obviously you can season it after. I just like to keep it consistent. So if you prefer bland, then by all means, you just do you. I think this is like 650 grams. Always weigh out my meat raw, just because it's more accurate to do it that way than doing it after it's cooked. Just because obviously depending on how you cook it, you're gonna change the cooked weight depending on how long or not as long you cook it for. So always better to be more accurate in my opinion. Let's chuck that bad boy in there. I always wait for the pan to heat up properly first before putting the meat in, rather than just like, you know, basically boiling it in the pan when it's not even hot yet. That's a Mark Hodson move, that is. Oh. Right, this is not going as planned. You know what? We need plan B. This is why I lift to unstick chicken from the pan. So once it's kind of cooked, I literally just I kind of just shred the chicken by bashing it aggressively, but it works for me. So quick, easy. I know some people actually blend their chicken, but you know what? I just cannot be dealing with the extra washing up. Voila. Okay guys, so I just thought that seeing as I will be taking a diet break from the weekend, I just thought I would go into, I'll just go into a little bit more depth as to what it is, why we do it during like a dieting phase. So essentially a diet break is a period of time, usually a prolonged period of time. So not just your standard, you know, 1, 2, 3 day refeed. It usually is a little bit longer than that, maybe usually even a week. And it's where we actually take calories up to maintenance or even slightly above maintenance. So imagine like you're in your deficit calories for an amount of weeks. A diet break, we bring things up to maintenance. We basically drop off the mental and physical fatigue from dieting during that time. So the likelihood is that, you know, I'm going to have some better sessions. I'm going to be moving around a little bit more. My NEAT will probably increase a little bit. Don't get me wrong, like I'm not experiencing any diet fatigue at this point, but I think physically and mentally it does have benefits as long as you have time to implement it into your X amount of week diet. Because remember that it is a very good tool, both physiologically, psychologically, to implement. However, over a certain period of time of you dieting, it will slow down the progress that you make, just down to the fact that obviously we are taking you back out of a deficit. We are taking you out that deficit. We are essentially bringing you back up to maintenance or slightly above. So of course, like, it is going to slow down your fat loss during that week because your calories are not going to be as like, they're not going to be your deficit calories. So you need to make sure that if you are going to implement these sorts of tools, which definitely do have benefits, like even from a muscle maintenance standpoint, there are studies showing that by implementing diet breaks over a period of time dieting, the subjects are more likely to retain more muscle and lose more fat mass, I suppose you could say. So that's another benefit to it. So going back to obviously just making sure that you have time to take a diet break. So like I said, it will technically slow down your progress. So you need to make sure that if you're going to implement them, that you've allowed adequate time to diet. If you were to look at your timeline as a whole, you need to take out your diet breaks, however many you choose to do, from your total duration of active dieting, because essentially like it will drag out your diet for even longer. However, like I said, psychologically as well, when you have some higher food, when you have a little bit more energy there and you know you've got almost these like harder pushes between diet breaks, it can be very beneficial for a lot of people. So yeah, I hope that gives you a little bit more clarity as to what they are, like why we do them, and essentially something that you might be thinking about implementing yourself. Good evening guys. So it is Friday evening. We actually travel to Ireland tomorrow, so we're going to drive to Manchester, get a flight from Manchester and then go straight to Dublin. But I've literally just prepped, I think not forgetting anything, fingers crossed, everything, like all my meals, because we're actually not taking, what's it called, like we're only taking on like carry-on bags to take onto the plane with us, not anything that's kind of being stored, if that even makes any sense whatsoever. But it does mean that obviously we can't take any like liquids and we don't really have that much space to pack. So we've tried to make everything as kind of space saving as possible. So I'm going to show you how we do that and how I've kind of prepped and packed everything in terms of like food, etc., to make sure that we are prepared while we are away, because essentially we are on prep, like we have no room for error, no room for deviation. So we have to be absolutely bang on, regardless as to whether we're home, whether we are away. Like the meals, the nutrition always stay the same. And of course, like I am doing my diet break from the weekend, so every single day is going to be a leg day, like a leg day meal day. So that's going to make things a little bit easier for me as well, just in regards to prepping for the same day every single day, versus having separate days, like for rest days, upper body days and leg days. So I'll show you that now. Okay, so this is the spread. So what we've done is prepped all of our meals, practically, except for, actually, I haven't prepped my last meal, which is oats, but I have that prepped in one of the bags over there. But I've not cooked it, obviously, until I actually get there. But everything is kind of cooked, assembled, ready to go up until meal 5 for tomorrow. And obviously the rest I will just assemble as I go, because we will be at the show all day on the Sunday. So I'll need to make sure that I do another meal prep day Saturday evening, so tomorrow evening, to make sure that everything is kind of ready for the following day. But is it a lot of effort? Yeah, to be fair, it is effort. And is it a pain in the ass? Yes, it is. But if you're really determined to stay on track, this is just a necessity. Like, it's just non-negotiable. So what I have here is, essentially, this is all like the dry supplements. So I've got a bag of oats here and all my cream of rice. So this is all my portions of cream of rice. So rather than putting in one big bag, I have actually just put them all into separate portions. And there is my whey as well. So what I've done is, this is my whey, these 2 bags for both days, for like the whole time I'm there, and for the flight home as well. And then what I've basically done is just written on the bags like how many grams of each thing there is in each bag, basically. So that's all well organized. I have the whey for tomorrow morning and pre and post workout here. I've also got a little tub of pink Himalayan salts, and that's something that obviously will stay consistent. I've got my dark chocolate here that I'll just take with me. Intra-workout for tomorrow in this little tub with the glutamine, EAs, creatine, salt, and cyclic dextrin. Then with the cream of rice meals for tomorrow, so this is meal 1. This is a pre-workout meal with dark chocolate, and then this is post. So they're all assembled, ready to go. I'll just chuck those in the fridge. This is the only meal that I'm going to have to technically make tomorrow morning, because this is technically meal 2. This is actually usually sourdough, but I've switched it to rice just for a couple of days while we are traveling, because bread is just not going to stay in a Tupperware well whatsoever. So swapped it to rice. All that I need to put in this meal is eggs. So tomorrow morning I will have to get up just that little bit earlier to cook eggs and put them in here. So it's like an egg and rice meal, and that is very nostalgic for me, being Asian and having my mum cook me eggs and rice like every single morning for breakfast before school. But that'll be nice. And this again will be my meal for Sunday. So this is the rice, this is the same meal as this, but again I'll have to cook the eggs for Sunday, so I'll do that on Sunday morning. And here I have also portioned out like what I need for my rice meals. I've also got some chicken pre-prepped in these bags. Obviously, like I said, it's not the most eco-friendly thing in the world, but look, like, it saves space. I very rarely use this many plastic bags for like anything, and for the most part I'm always eating out of glass Tupperware. So it is literally just a necessity for a temporary purpose. But all like these dry bags, I suppose, I will try and reuse these in the future. But this is just going to save, using bags just saves so much more space. Like, imagine like if I put all of these things like into Tupperwares, like how much space that would take up. And we're literally taking like 2 bags each on the plane with us, so we just don't have that sort of room. I have also got my sups ready as well. So this will be for like AM, PM, and then I also have like obviously my fasted sups in here as well, going the other way. So everything is like super organized, or I try to be super organized. I probably still have forgotten something, but I hope not. I think that this is practically everything. So I'm going to pop this, or everything that needs to go in the fridge. I'll probably put some more labels on them if I feel like I need to. But that is pretty much everything there. And again, I will kind of need to cook as I go, like green beans, etc., and fruit, which will buy out there. But yeah, this is kind of the main bulk of it when it comes to meat and carbs. Yeah, that is how we travel. So I hope that gives you a little bit more of an insight as to kind of how we prep and pack things to go away. And of course, like, any questions at all, please drop them in the comments and I will answer them. And if you like this video and you want a few more tips on anything, really, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will be recording over the weekend and vlogging while we are at the show, while we are away, and obviously at the beginning of next week as well while I'm taking my diet break. So I will catch up with you all then.